Welcome back. President-elect Donald Trump on Friday announced Wall Street financier Scott Bessent as his pick for Treasury Secretary following weeks of speculation. Who is the man slated to become the nation's chief financial officer, and what impact could this have on the economy? We're joined now by the president of Corvette Warehouse, Douglas Ernest. Douglas, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for allowing me to visit with you and your viewers this morning for our perspective.
Absolutely. Now, you're a small business owner. What are you looking for in a Treasury Secretary, and does Bessent fit the bill?
Well, to be real frank with you, I was very flabbergasted to hear that Scott Bessent was actually selected for Treasury Secretary. This person who was in the mix and the potential running for this position in the cabinet was an astronomical pick. And number one, his background. He started out with being trained at Yale, and then he was an adjunct professor at Yale. He's going to bring some of his experiences as being a successful business person. He's a billionaire, which is a great person to put in charge of the nation's finances. Someone to oversee deregulation of our nation's construed economy, and finally, someone that can actually fight for the American people to bring prosperity to all Americans, not just the wealthy. So absolutely outstanding pick. Very excited to have him lead the nation's money policy and fiscal policy for our nation.
Bessent is a big name on Wall Street. He's talked about deregulation, lowering taxes, and growing the economy. Which is most important to businesses like you on Main Street?
Well, over the last 2 years, my business and my colleagues' business in this industry, classic cars, used cars, our business has been decimated. I've had the most horrific losses in the history of my business. I've been doing this for 27, 28 years as a hobby, and then as a small business owner and employed 10 people in my business and employed 50 vendors that have full-time employees to be able to keep our products on the road. And we have been just leveled. Our business has been decimated. Our customers don't have any money. People are watching their money because the economy has been, shrunk, and inflation has been so high. So it's been, I would compare it to the Jimmy Carter years when I was a kid, when things were so expensive and my parents couldn't afford to put food on the table. And one thing that I just must be noted about Scott is that he has a great perspective. This man comes from a complete diversified background. If nobody's talking about it in the mainstream media, but years ago, 15, 20, 25 years ago, this pick supported Clinton, he supported Obama, he supported Hillary, and he also supported Al Gore. So we learned something in my years of schooling from being in the military, that the best picks for leadership are those that are diversified. He has a background of being in the liberal era. He worked for George Soros when he started out his career, but he's transformed himself to a better way of thinking that's more prosperous for the American people. And he shifted his beliefs a little bit to the more conservative side of the spectrum and swung his pendulum a little bit to the right. So you cannot ask for a better pick, a more diversified, efficient, someone that's going to fight for the American people to bring prosperity, not only to the wealthy, but to those that are in the middle class that actually are the backbone of this economy.
Digging in a little more into some of the specific policies we're looking ahead to, Bessent has largely endorsed Trump's pursuit of tariffs, though with some caveats, saying tariffs need to be layered in gradually. As a business owner, do you support the idea of higher tariffs?
I absolutely support the backbone of what Donald Trump's administration will propose and what they will implement, because when he was in office back in 16 to 2020, that was some of the most prosperous years for my business. Our growth, our employees made a good living. People were able to buy cars, pay for their food, and buy products on the market because things weren't expensive. The average American could buy a home, they could buy a car, they could buy their American dream, which is our Corvette, if they worked hard, saved their money, and worked efficiently to save up so that they could buy a car. And today that dream is out of the grasp of most American people. And the most people that can afford this today are those that are wealthy. I absolutely support what they designed in their program and their framework for fiscal policy. I don't believe anybody is as skilled as this man to be able to lead us to prosperity and abundance for all American people. It might be tough. It might be a little bit of back and forth. The pendulum could swing the other way a little bit, but I'm 100% behind them. And I cannot wait to see the changes exacerbated in our economy and be able to free up some of that money and return what I call the American dream that was alive and well when I was a teenager and I was in my early 20s attempting to start a business.
I certainly wish that for you and your business. As you said, you've been through some tough years recently. Some of that may be in regard to inflation. As you pointed out, people are spending less. This is of course, going to be of high import to Bessent and Trump. Is inflation still impacting your business or customers right now?
Absolutely. You know, when Donald Trump was in business, we had cheap gas, we had cheap products, you know, there was low inflation, interest rates were low. When the Biden and Harris administration started spending just crazy spending and serendipity did not take hold, it was not able to affect positive change for the American people. It brought the cost of goods up, it brought inflation. We had a mass influx of migrants to our country that brought the price of housing up. People just couldn't afford to do things they did before. So right now, as we change this backdrop, you know, that people depend on, that, you know, the catapult people to success, we have to understand that the automotive industry employs tens of millions of people in this country. It's the cornerstone of our economy. It's how people get to work every day. The current administration came out with some energy initiatives with their, you know, Go Green effect. And what it did was they just said, okay, we're going to stop producing gas vehicles. We're going to take everything off the market. And they just put a kink in the system. You tie that up with supply chain shortages, you know, untying the money supply and just untying people's free capital to buy cars and have, you know, a discretionary income. It literally decimated our business. We went from selling half the vehicles and our profits went from profitability to major losses, and we were able to sustain. And I'm hoping with the changes of the cabinet, the effectiveness of our new leadership and the administration, that the American people have overwhelmingly spoken that positive change is on the horizon, and we're going to do extremely well moving forward under the Trump administration.
Corvette Warehouse President Douglas Ernest, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for understanding my perspective, and I appreciate it, and best wishes. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving to you and your viewers.
Happy holidays.